The Los Angeles Dodgers were rocked by a series of shocking and dangerous events that left the entire organization in a state of disbelief and anger. Alex Cole, who had just received a severe punishment from the team, decided to make things even worse by insulting both Dalton Rushing and Shohei Ohtani in what can only be described as a dangerous and reckless act. The insults were vicious, personal, and completely crossed the line of acceptable behavior in a professional baseball clubhouse. But what happened next was even more dramatic. Mookie Betts, one of the most respected voices in the Dodgers clubhouse, stepped forward and publicly reprimanded Alex Cole with words that cut deep and sent a clear message about accountability and respect. And in the midst of all this chaos, Shohei Ohtani made a shocking statement to Dalton Rushing that nobody saw coming and that completely changed the conversation. This is the full story of one of the most intense and dramatic days in recent Dodgers history. The trouble began when Alex Cole received a severe punishment from the Dodgers organization following a series of poor decisions and unacceptable behavior both on and off the field. According to sources inside the organization, the punishment had been discussed at the highest levels of the front office, and the decision was made that Cole needed to face serious consequences for his actions. The exact details of the punishment were not immediately made public, but those close to the situation confirmed that it was one of the harshest penalties the organization had handed down in recent memory. Cole was informed of the decision in a private meeting with manager Dave Roberts and members of the front office. The meeting was tense, uncomfortable, and left Cole visibly shaken when he emerged from the room. For most players, receiving such a severe punishment would be a moment of deep reflection and humility. It would be an opportunity to accept responsibility, learn from mistakes, and work hard to earn back the trust and respect of the organization. But Alex Cole is not most players. Instead of responding with maturity and accountability, Cole chose a path that would make everything infinitely worse. Shortly after being informed of his punishment, Cole was seen walking through the Dodgers clubhouse with a strange expression on his face. Teammates who witnessed his demeanor described it as unsettling and inappropriate given the circumstances. Instead of showing remorse or disappointment, Cole appeared to be smirking, almost as if he found the entire situation amusing. This attitude immediately raised red flags among his teammates and coaching staff. What happened next shocked everyone in the organization and crossed a line that should never be crossed in any professional setting. Instead of quietly accepting his punishment and moving forward, Alex Cole decided to lash out in the most dangerous and destructive way possible. He began hurling insults at two of his teammates, Dalton Rushing and Shohei Ohtani, in a display of anger and disrespect that left everyone who witnessed it absolutely stunned. Rushing, who is known for being a quiet and respectful teammate, was visibly shocked by the verbal assault. He stood frozen at his locker, unsure of how to respond to the sudden and unprovoked attack. Other players in the vicinity immediately stopped what they were doing and turned their attention to the confrontation. The atmosphere in the clubhouse shifted dramatically as tension filled the air. But Cole was not finished. After finishing his attack on Dalton Rushing, he turned his attention to an even more shocking target. In what can only be described as a dangerous and suicidal career move, Alex Cole began hurling insults directly at Shohei Ohtani, the biggest superstar in the entire Dodgers organization and one of the most beloved players in all of baseball. The insults directed at Ohtani were even more vicious and disrespectful than those aimed at Rushing. Cole made comments questioning Ohtani's dedication to the team, suggesting that the Japanese superstar received special treatment, and implying that Ohtani cared more about his personal brand than about winning games. The words were shocking, hurtful, and completely out of line. The entire clubhouse fell into a stunned silence. Players looked at each other in complete disbelief, unable to process what they were hearing. To insult Shohei Ohtani, a player who works harder than anyone, who treats everyone with respect, and who has done nothing but bring honor and success to the Dodgers organization, was beyond comprehension. It was a dangerous act that would have serious and immediate consequences. Ohtani, true to his character, did not react with anger or aggression. He simply looked at Cole with an expression of calm disappointment, as if he could not believe that another professional athlete would behave in such a disrespectful manner. Ohtani said nothing in response to the insults. He did not need to. His silence and composure spoke volumes about the difference in character between the two men. Just when it seemed like nobody was going to respond to Alex Cole's shocking behavior, Mookie Betts stood up from his locker and walked directly toward Cole with a look of determination and anger on his face. Betts is one of the most respected leaders in the Dodgers clubhouse, known for his professionalism, his work ethic, and his commitment to team unity. When Mookie Betts speaks, people listen. And what he was about to say would be remembered as one of the most powerful moments of the entire season. Betts walked right up to Cole and looked him directly in the eyes. The clubhouse was completely silent. Every player stopped what they were doing to watch what was about to happen. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. And then Betts spoke, and his words were sharp, direct, and absolutely devastating. "You did something wrong, so why are you grinning like that?" Betts said firmly, his voice filled with controlled anger and disappointment. The question hung in the air like a punch to the gut. It was simple, direct, and completely exposed the absurdity and immaturity of Cole's behavior. Cole's smirk immediately disappeared from his face. He tried to respond, opening his mouth to say something, but Betts was not finished. "You come in here and insult your teammates after you just got punished for your own mistakes?" Betts continued, his voice rising slightly. "What kind of man does that? What kind of teammate does that?" The words hit Cole like a freight train. His face turned red, and for the first time since the incident began, he appeared to realize the severity of what he had done. He looked around the clubhouse and saw nothing but anger, disappointment, and disgust on the faces of his teammates. There was not a single person in that room who supported him or sympathized with him. Betts took a step closer to Cole, his expression serious and unwavering. "Dalton Rushing works hard every single day and never complains. Shohei Ohtani is the best player in the world and treats everyone with nothing but respect. And you think you have the right to insult them? You think that makes you tough or cool? All it does is show everyone exactly who you really are." The silence that followed was deafening. Cole stood there, unable to speak, unable to defend himself, and completely exposed in front of the entire team. Betts stared at him for a few more seconds, then shook his head in disgust and walked back to his locker. The message had been delivered, and it was crystal clear. Alex Cole had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed, and he had lost the respect of every single person in that clubhouse. Teammates immediately surrounded Betts to show their support and appreciation for what he had just done. Freddie Freeman put his hand on Betts' shoulder and nodded in agreement. Other players voiced their support, thanking Betts for standing up and saying what needed to be said. It was a powerful moment of team unity in the face of toxic and unacceptable behavior. While everyone was still processing what had just happened between Mookie Betts and Alex Cole, Shohei Ohtani quietly walked over to Dalton Rushing's locker. Rushing was sitting down, still visibly shaken by the insults that had been hurled at him just minutes earlier. He looked up when he saw Ohtani approaching, and the expression on his face was a mixture of embarrassment and sadness. Ohtani sat down next to Rushing and put his hand on the young player's shoulder. What happened next was witnessed by several teammates who were nearby, and what they heard absolutely shocked them. Ohtani began speaking to Rushing in a calm and reassuring voice, and the words he said were completely unexpected and incredibly powerful. "Dalton, I want you to know something," Ohtani said quietly. "What he said to you today says nothing about who you are. It says everything about who he is. You are a good player and a good person. Do not let his words change how you see yourself." Rushing looked at Ohtani with surprise and gratitude. He had not expected the biggest superstar on the team to come over and personally console him after what had just happened. But Ohtani was not finished. What he said next was the shocking statement that would dominate headlines and social media for days to come. "I have been watching you since you joined this team," Ohtani continued. "And I see something special in you. You have talent, you have heart, and you have the mindset to become something great. I believe in you, Dalton. And I want you to know that I am here for you, not just as a teammate, but as a friend." The words hit Rushing like an emotional tidal wave. Tears began to well up in his eyes as he listened to Shohei Ohtani, one of the greatest players in baseball history, tell him that he believed in him and saw something special in him. It was a moment that Rushing would never forget for the rest of his life. Teammates who witnessed the conversation were deeply moved by what they saw. Several players later told reporters that seeing Ohtani take the time to personally encourage and support Dalton Rushing after everything that had just happened was one of the most beautiful and powerful displays of leadership they had ever witnessed. It was a reminder of why Ohtani is not just a superstar, but a true leader and role model. Freddie Freeman, who was standing nearby during the conversation, spoke to reporters afterward and could not hide his emotion. "That is who Shohei Ohtani is," Freeman said, his voice filled with admiration. "He just got insulted and disrespected by someone who does not deserve to be in the same room as him, and instead of being angry or upset, he goes over and lifts up a young teammate who needed it. That is real leadership. That is real character." In the hours and days following the incident, the fallout was swift and severe. Alex Cole's actions had sealed his fate with the Dodgers organization. According to sources inside the front office, there were serious discussions about releasing Cole from the team entirely. The insults toward Dalton Rushing and Shohei Ohtani, combined with his inappropriate reaction to his punishment, had made it clear that Cole no longer had a future with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Manager Dave Roberts addressed the media and made it clear that the organization would not tolerate disrespect or toxic behavior under any circumstances. "We have standards in this clubhouse," Roberts said firmly. "And when someone violates those standards in such a blatant and disrespectful way, there are consequences. This organization is built on respect, teamwork, and accountability. Anyone who cannot live up to those values does not belong here." Mookie Betts received widespread praise from fans, media, and teammates for his courageous stand against Alex Cole's behavior. His words became a rallying cry for accountability and respect, and his leadership in that moment reinforced why he is considered one of the most important voices in the Dodgers clubhouse. And Shohei Ohtani, once again, proved why he is not only the best player in baseball but also one of the best human beings in the sport. His shocking and heartfelt statement to Dalton Rushing became a viral moment on social media, with millions of fans around the world praising Ohtani for his kindness, humility, and leadership.